literally the ins and outs of human traffic in our country. It's really fucking rough to look at, to be honest. It really is.
Man.
Yeah, I think the complicity that authorities have in this is staggering. To have
It really is. Whenever you look at it, like the most helpful organization is Pegasus, and they're funded by the government, but they're not a government agency. They don't report to the ATF or FBI or anything like that. And they really collect statistics, and then they help people once they've been rescued to get them assimilated back. Because generally, what happens, especially the average age for a girl that's abducted is 15. You're not old enough to drive, but you're old enough to be sold for sex. And the problem is once they get rescued, the average age at that point in time is 21 to 23. So they have a 2-year window period of time of them slipping back into it because they've been strung out. They've been, everything you can imagine to them. So the call is there for them to go back to that. So there's a 2-year very intense window of time to keep these girls, and you can't squeeze them too hard. It's just like if you have a teenage daughter, you can't squeeze them too hard. If not, they're going to slip through and act out. So the same thing happens with these young women going through 7 or 8 years of, God can only imagine. If it happened to your daughter, your sister, your mom, or your aunt, you'd fucking want to kill somebody, and that's definitely every one of these girls' stories. But that story came out this morning, and it's getting a lot of traction, a lot of play, and there's a video that comes out to it tonight that I put together I got permission from Dave from Disturbed to do it with the Sound of Silence song.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I know Dave really well. Back in the 90s, whenever I used to fight professionally, I did security for Music as a Weapon whenever they first came out. And me standing next to him, he looks like my mini-me.
There you go.
Because back then I was 6'2", 250, and whatever. And he's a little bitty. He's an Indian. He's actually Indian, and so he's barely 5 foot tall. Yeah. So him standing next to me, it was really a funny picture. But we've known each other for probably 25 years.
Nice. Well, I just wanted to jump in and let you know while you guys were chatting, and I went to the bathroom and came back out, I hit the stream button. So we are live on X today, and we are together, man. I said, you know what? I was going to try and record an episode, and I said, shit, let's just go. I'm in the live stream kind of mood. So we're chatting, we're talking. And, Chris, I really appreciate you coming on. I was really disappointed. You had that appointment made a little bit ago. And last night, our spaces got a little spicy, right? And I have to say that I don't often wake up.
Hang on just a second. What happened, baby?
I don't know what you guys did. I don't know what happened to you guys.
Live TV.
Whatever. You're giving him money. Whatever.
I don't know, man. It's fine. We're good. We shall see, man. Like the blind man said.
Was it a naked gun, like a blind man at a... is it blind man at a urinal? No, is that it? How to feel things out? Frank Drebin.
Yeah, the spaces last night was interesting, man. It got a little spicy, man. And it was, which spicy is good, man. You got to ride that edge, Can't be too boring and can't get too one of the things I like is I've been in spaces that you just can't, you can't compete, man. There's so much going on. You can't get a word in edgewise. That's no fun. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, like probably some organization as far as like nights that are just for that particular purpose, for everyone just to come on and just say their piece and vent their frustrations or whatever about anything.
Yeah.
And then have more specific spaces where it's like topic related and kind of sticking to that. And
yeah. Well, and
and maybe even reducing the number of speakers at first, and then maybe opening it up at the end to questions and answers or whatever.
Yeah.
Just some sort of thing like that to sort of filter out some of the chaos.
Yeah.
Because I think the idea of having people just come in and just randomly be able to go like, I've had a shitty day, it's great. People need that, you know. And sometimes, like I said, people don't have people to talk to, and it's just you start building that shit up in your head and
well, you know,
chopping it down and keep going.
One of the cool parts about Discord is that you can have a room. Like literally, I could have a room that's a grieving room. Okay, so if you want to come on to the Truthslinger, chat or whatever, and get in there, then there's this room called grieving or prayer, right? So whatever your thing is, and there'll be chat going on in there. So it's kind of like YouTube direct message sort of chat function with a group chat, but you can filter it, right? And you could belong to these different groups within this community of, you know, the Truthslinger thing. So what the hell happened to Chris?
I don't know. I see him pop back there for a second.
Yeah, I hope he pops back in, and I hope that.
Yeah, me too.
I hope that that wasn't because of the thing. I don't know. You know, I understand that the person apparently that I offended last night is emotionally attached to Chris. So I was wondering whether Chris wasn't going to come on because I dissed this woman, you know. And I don't know if the woman lives in his house. Okay, I mean, I don't. So she might have been like, "Who the hell are you talking to right now? You talking to that son of a bitch that was on places?" It might have been that. I don't know. I'm hoping that's not the case because it's like, you know, she might have read him the riot act and he's gone. He's like, okay, sorry. I don't know. I don't know. Shit.
Well, hopefully not.
I hope not.
I mean, I can understand. It was, you know, it is what it was. But I mean, it should be over now. You know.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. So anyway, I was really kind of excited about that. But anyway, well, fuck him for the moment. So yeah, so Mikey, Siggs O'Malley at Siggs O'Malley on X, right? We are live, right? We're gonna fucking make lemonade out of this shit, right?
Hell yeah.
Originally, I was supposed to fucking be talking to you anyway. Chris wasn't supposed to pop the fuck in here anyway. He missed his slot 2 hours ago. Fucker's late. So anyway, we'll talk to you, right? And we have been talking like for actually already about a half an hour about like the organic shit that is going on fucking X and on the internet and this X Spaces and the explosion that's going on and the attraction you sort of felt for us and kind of that whole feeling daunted, like I know that I want to contribute, but I don't know how I can contribute. Yeah, so that's why we kind of left off, man. So, like, I'm gonna kind of do this in the idea that, like, I would like to build Truthslinger News Network. So, based on what we've been talking about for the last 30 minutes, what do you see that we can offer you as far as having a voice to bring on here with us at Truthslinger News Network? Like, what does this do for you that I say, hey, you want to have a TV show? I'll do it from here, man. I'll flip the switches and, you know, arrange your shit and make a theme song for you and turn you into a star. What do you think of that shit? I mean, you know.
I'll tell you, like I was telling you earlier, that my technical knowledge is zero. I am terrible. In fact, funny story for the viewers, just to illustrate how technically inept I am. To get into this conversation we had before we started streaming, to get into the studio, into the room where this is happening, it asked for a name. Well, I assume that this is a name, a code word of some kind that you, being the person that started the stream, would need to give me. So I'm waiting patiently for this name that you never send me, and then I go, "Hey Tim, it's asking for a name." Yeah, type in your name, Mike. What was your response? So yeah, I was actually, like I said to you, I didn't get the extra credit for putting my name on the test initially. So
no, you put.
So
the
idea that
exactly
I can just babble on,
too. Yeah,
and the technical end of it, at least initially, until I learn what I'm doing, you can handle that. Was I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's the best feeling in the world, because that's the one obstacle that has kept me from being more active in the streaming spaces.
Yeah. Well,
It's just a lack of technical understanding.
Yeah. Well, great.
I talk all day.
Yeah. Right. Well, just tell me right now. Go. Hey, move me to the left. Say it.
Move me to the left.
There you go.
Not
Right?
politically.
Right. There you go. Right. Say, make me smaller, right? I mean, it's you could do this shit all day long, right? I mean, all you gotta do is tell me what to fucking do, and I'll push all the buttons, right?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Hang on a second. My wife cannot hear.
Okay, I can.
All right. Well, that's good. So yeah, so I mean, this is how easy it is, and this is how wonderful it is, right? And so this is where I got excited, because I knew and I understood what I had to go through, like the literal, veritable slog of what's a podcast, and is it video, is it audio only, what kind of software, and then all the software, each of them, they all kind of overlap. So some of them do the similar functionality as the others, and which one should I use as a platform, and what's the best things to combine together? It's all awfully intimidating, right? And so that's a fact, right? So I got through all that part, and when I started being able to do this and go, wow, I'm interviewing people and I'm doing shit like this, I'm like, wow, I can fucking produce a television program from here, right? You don't understand what I'm saying? And the light bulb literally came on over my head. And I said, wow.
I want to do a live stream where it's just that and people putting donations in to get us to put the camera in a different weird spot.
Yeah, there you go.
Make it small, make it big.
As long as it doesn't involve it taking any clothes off, I'm down with that, right? So
no. That's for
like,
the. Is there an OnlyFans part of this network?
No.
Yeah, we don't have an OnlyFans section. So, but yeah, I mean, when I realized,
I've got a face for radio.
Well, but when I realized this, it was like, that's when I went, like I was thinking to myself, like the mantra that's, and who knows, God gives us these things, right? I was told, and when I say told, I didn't hear an audible voice. I was told over, like, this impression that I got from God is replicate yourself, replicate yourself, replicate yourself. And in the truest sense of the word, I thought, all right, get other people to tell the truth. Get them converted, get them following Jesus, and then they'll tell others about Jesus, and that's like all that my brain went, right? But then as I started to live out my life and flesh out this whole podcasting thing, right? I learned how to record, I learned how to make professional, video and audio. I learned how YouTube works. Then I learned how to stream. Then I learned how to interview people, and then I said, well, as soon as I did that, I said, shit, I've got the full production capabilities. Right. So what better way to replicate yourself than say, I want an army of podcasters. I'm a podcaster, right? Why do I'm I'm nothing special, dude. I mean, I get on and rant for a while and, do my shit and everything, but there's an army of me out there, right? That are just as entertaining as I am. So I can build a network, And so that's where we're going with this whole thing, and like I said, it's become way bigger than I could have ever expected mentally that it would be, which of course requires a whole hell of a lot of work and a whole lot of resources, because you cannot put documentaries together. I mean, I like to drink coffee and I can like back off of sleeping for a little while, but there's only so much I can do. I mean, I do the video, I do the intros, I do the, all this kind of crap. You see all the graphics I produced for myself. I did all that stuff, right? It took a couple of years to get there. But, I mean, to actually run a television network and say, okay, we got this guy and he's going to have a show. We need an intro. Here's what he looks like. Here's his music he wants. And it's got to be feel like all the other intros so that it, spreads across the network. That shit takes time. That shit takes work. Okay,
sure.
We gotta fucking manage a broadcasting schedule. Then we gotta manage who's gonna be there. You're gonna be on vacation? Are you sick? Are you not sick? What are you gonna do in alternate programming? I mean, it gets complicated real fucking fast. And the funny part is,
well, the thing to be mindful too is that you have to consider that it's going to be important at some point, probably sooner than later, that you delegate some of these responsibilities and have the buck stop with you. You know what I mean? Like if there's an issue, call Tim.
Right.
But to be doing it all yourself, this is going to keep growing and growing and growing, and eventually you're what you're saying. Like there's just
Right.
not going to be enough time in the day.
Right. And
so to find trusted people now that have the skills needed for these particular things, like whether it's technical or scheduling or whatever it is, and delegate that stuff to people that are in on it and in with the idea and supportive of it, that can take some of that off your plate so that you can move forward and continue building in other directions.
Right. Right. And that's the phase that we're in right now is you can call it the assembly phase, right, of the Army, of the core engine of TNN, right? God is bringing in the spark plug, the wires, he's bringing in all the parts to put the engine together, right? I mean, we're getting researchers coming in, and I'm like now actively advertising on X, like literally recruiting. I need legal, because I mean we're gonna need legal help, right? I'm gonna probably have to incorporate.
Sure.
I got there's a bunch of shit we're gonna have to do, right? I'm thinking I want a nonprofit, and then I want a for-profit, and so it's a whole bunch. Yeah, we need the help, right? I can't do that shit. And I mean, eventually I can slog through it and maybe do it on LegalZoom, but again, I'm only one person. So, but then the big thing for me is wrapping my mind around, okay, and I'm getting pretty much there, but that the army that you prayed for is actually here, and you need to use them and utilize them. It's just starting to really settle in on me, and it's very humbling. I mean, Kenny told me, he said, you cannot back out now. He says, you have delegated to people, and so now you cannot back out. People are counting on you. And I'm like, he's right. Okay, now look at people
He's
are
like
looking.
your side chick now.
Yeah, but I mean, he's looking at me. Yeah, she's saying that
He
she
comes
can't.
in, doesn't even knock. He just
Oh.
comes in the house.
Yeah, he just waltzes in and says, "Tim, I want to talk to you. I don't care what you're doing with your wife right now. You're my friend."
And he just can't say no to the accent.
I know. He's just so sexy with his French accent. But anyway, I love the guy, and he came out of fucking nowhere, dude. I mean, just didn't know this guy from Adam until like 2-3 days ago.
This is like the apostles.
It's
Gathering the 12 apostles.
yeah, but I mean, it really is kind of crazy and supernatural and freaky, and to literally like I've said this before. I've been in positions of leadership before. I've run entire engineering and R&D departments. Okay, I mean for major heating manufacturers. I know how to run organizations. I know how to do org charts. I know how I just fucking know how to run things. Right? I mean I just do. I've always been in it. But I've never gone to broadcast management. Broadcasting school. I don't know the first fucking thing about broadcasting. Nothing. Not zero. And the other thing is
Sure you do. Wait a minute. Hold on. Of course you do. You've been doing this for a long time. You've been making videos for a long time.
well,
You have more practical experience than anybody in a broadcasting school does. They may need to give some tactical insights and have some networking opportunities there that you might not have had. But as far as the actual act of broadcasting, you know plenty. You know a lot.
Right.
And you're learning every day.
Right.
So
but that's the thing.
don't sell yourself short on that.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. But that's the thing is that what do I classically or traditionally know? Which is one of the greatest things is that once you have the internet, you don't need a degree, right? You don't need to go to school to learn this kind of stuff. So
no, it's a new era.
Right. So intuitively speaking, I said, right, I know what I want to achieve. I know what I want to accomplish. And actually, not knowing anything about classical broadcasting is actually, I think, an advantage. Because what it allows me to do is think completely out of the fucking box. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm approaching the problem from a whole new standpoint and say, I know I'm going to do the same thing you fucking do, but I'm going to think it from the ground up. Right? And I think there's beauty in that. Right? And so, so this whole thing, but the craziest part is that in order to run a media organization,
No.
I mean, you can imagine the capital that I would have to have
She's
to have
already-
an attorney, a graphics
No.
department, you know, an animation or video department, you know, a research department. Can you imagine the kind of payroll that would be?
Yeah.
Right. But yet, those are the people that are coming to me that have come into my circle, and I'm commanding them for like nothing. And that's a very strange feeling because, you know, it's like I don't sign your paycheck, right? But like I said, I got people like saluting to me, and it's just like I'm getting more comfortable with accepting it, but it's just freaking me out a little. You know what I mean? When people just go, I want to follow you. I mean, you know, like really. I mean, because of course you get on X and you go, follow me, you know, follow me, right? And then, but I mean, when really people start to follow you, like I'm like really into what you're doing, and I'm excited about it, and it makes a difference in my world, and I want to be your friend. That's fucking weird. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, like as we were talking about earlier, like we have a lot of people that follow you and follow me and whatever. We're all in the same mindset as far as like the mainstream media is concerned. We haven't been getting our news from them for quite a while. And we've seen these small channels on YouTube blow up from independent media and being honest and transparent in telling the actual news. So there is, and there's a lot of people out there that don't have that opportunity, but have the same feelings, the same thoughts, the same immediate visceral reaction to watching MSNBC lie to your face. You know what I mean? And it's frustrating, and an outlet is so wanted by people, and things like spaces like we talked about earlier, even the interviewing that you're doing, and how you're trying to get to just the average person is huge. People love that because everyone has something to say. It's just a lot of people aren't comfortable to say it or don't have a venue to say it. So the fact that you're building something here that gives a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't have a voice is very appealing, I think, to a lot of people. And I think The Voices is an example of that because, like I said to you earlier, I think a lot of the people that speak in that particular platform would never get on camera for whatever reason. So that's maybe their only opportunity to speak and be heard. So the fact that that's an option for them is tremendous to me. I think it's great, and I think it's more necessary now than it's ever been. All things considered.
Yep. So anyway, interestingly enough, live TV. Yes, the reason that our panelist dropped back off was because I was a dick last night to his spouse. Apparently, that was his. Not just. It was his spouse. Okay, so. And he's saying that, she brought the panel to tears, and then 5 minutes later told she's crazy, and so, she's pissed, and blah, I made a mess. So anyway, I'm trying to say that I was a dick, and I would like an opportunity to apologize, right? So I'm fixing that right now, right? So hang on. This is live TV, right? This is the way it works. Sometimes we run into each other.
I think we would call that, where I come from originally, a racing deal, where she did go off topic, and then you did come in hot, and you met in the middle, and for a few seconds it was a little ugly.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think you were both fighting for the same real estate, essentially, and it just made contact, and someone went into the wall. I do think that forgiveness is important. I think we got to understand there's a bigger picture here, and that we all fundamentally agree on some of the important things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had audio problems on the space, which was very frustrating. It was just cutting in and out, which was getting on my nerves. And then, we had some other penisoids in there, who were playing around with voice modulators and shit. And so, it's just a matter of trying. We had 2,000 people watching. And I mean, just to let you know right now, we've got 122 people watching us right now talking about this shit, which is why I like live, man. It's just so fucking cool, right? And so we had 2,000 people in at the time. And it's like, those people are watching, they're trying to be entertained. And I had comments and, so basically, the people were going, hey, she's off topic, and God, where are we going with this? And da-da-da-da-da. So I had pressure from that direction, and then the other noise. And then what happened was, like I said, I was late, I was tired, and I just did it very inartfully. And it was it was crappy. I mean, I walked away from it, and I felt shitty when you do something shitty.
Sure.
And you realize, wow, especially when you wake up the next morning, when you did something shitty when you wake up the next morning and it still bugs you, and you go, ooh, woo, I'm sorry, I really did that last night, and so yeah, I mean, I felt like really fucking bad because there's a place for that. And like I said, women are a weaker vessel, and we want to lift them up. And so, it was just, and it's like, so we'll see. I apologized. I said I'd like to apologize to her. I said I was a dick, but I should be afforded the opportunity to apologize. At this point, if he's not interested, he's not supposed to be somebody that's been over it.
Well, it may take a little time too. You know what I mean? Everyone's different with that sort of thing. And,
right.
It was definitely, I'm sure, from her perspective, like a big shift in, like, she just vented all that, and then.
Oh yeah, I mean,
just got a haymaker.
It wasn't good. Okay, like I said, it wasn't good. It's like, but again, I mean, I felt like, in my head, we were like out in Jupiter, where I was thinking I was tunneled. Right, I was tunneled in running a space rather than being compassionate to a human being, right? So,
well, and here's the thing too. To quote the Big Lebowski, "You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole." Because that's because you weren't wrong. I mean, she was off topic, and it was, and to be fair to her, it was a very deep topic, and she obviously needed to get some things off her chest, which I totally understand that. Right. The only thing you did wrong was you just came in way too hot to me.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like you were just totally out of line. Like, what do you mean? She was on topic. Well, she really wasn't.
Yeah, live and
but
learn.
You just came in so hot.
Yeah, live and learn. Like I said, we'll approach it once again tonight. It'll be the third time, and one of the things that sometimes, and I think that they get pissed off at Donald Trump and the patriarchy and all this stuff, is that you may hate it, but sometimes we need a fucking bull in a china shop. Okay?
Sure.
Sometimes we just fucking need
just
a bull
not
in
at that particular moment.
No, I know that. You're not helping me right now. I'm just saying, right, that sometimes some of us have rough edges, right? And some of us are better built to do other things, right? It's taken me years to learn how to be compassionate, right? Trust me, dude. The last thing I ever expected God was to lift me up to be, a pastor. And yes, I said that, a pastor, right? A shepherd of his flock. So you want to talk about waking up and feeling shitty about myself? Yeah, like double time, okay? Because it wasn't just the fact that I was a crappy host in my spaces. You understand? There was something way, way bigger at stake there that I claim to be, right? So I'm not just this one thing, like I'm a bunch of things. And so when I messed up in that way, I had some repentance to do between me and my God, right? To say that I will treat people better from now on. So, and that's just going to make me a better host. And so I just have to trust that all things work to the good of those that love God or are called according to his purpose, and that I'm going to be smarter and better. And whether I have a relationship with, the people that I ran into last night that I was, foul with or not, I don't know. I hope I do. And again, I did as much as I can do to sweep my side of the street. And after that, that's all we can do. And I'm just going to continue to barrel forward because you know, there's too much to be done, and I don't think everybody got mad and walked away. And so, you know, I think, you know, so anyway, we just hope that we can mend that fence there, and you know, let's hope we do. Right?
I feel like you will. I hope so, because I mean, it was unpleasant, but it's a bump in the road. It shouldn't be the end of it. You know, it shouldn't be something that gets held onto for too long. I wouldn't think. You know, but I'm not her either, so I can't speak for how she should feel or whatever. But I'm just saying that we all again share some very fundamental, important things that we agree on.
Well, and I would happen to say that I just think we're all broken in more ways than we can possibly imagine.
Absolutely.
And in some ways that we don't even know about, right? So
absolutely.
So what we've done over the years, we've been programmed by the world and this and that and the other thing, and so shedding those grave clothes is sometimes hard. And so, you know, we do things that we respond in ways to other people. I mean, which is one of the big things about the homeless thing. I mean, we're doing a big thing about homelessness, okay? I've got Ian going down to Bangor. We did that on Saturday at 2. He wants to go to he wants to go to Lewiston. He wants to go to Waterville. He wants to go to all the major cities, man. He wants to do this statewide and then produce a documentary, right? So, you know, I mean, my whole aim is to be compassionate. My whole aim is to shine the light on people that are misunderstood, right? That are you know, in situations that are not necessarily any fault of their own, right? And
well, hold on one second. I got to plug my computer in.
Yeah, I heard that.
I was not paying attention to that. All right. Whew. Yeah, that would have been bad.
Yeah. All right. So anyway. Okay. So, So reached out. Like to have her on. Like to shit. I'll hear her for a whole 45 minutes, man. Let's just let it rip, you know. But again, we'll see. So. Yeah, but in the arena of ideas, you know, I think that, and to a degree, I gotta say it too. You know, part of what came out, right, is that we have been so trained for so long to be careful of what we say because we're so afraid that we were all gonna get butthurt. Okay, you know, we're gonna bruise someone. That we've gotten into this place where we're scared to say anything at all, right? So there's this urge, and I think it's very much like my mother, right? When she kind of like lost her filters, like, you know, especially when she had a few too many, and she would just like tell you exactly what the fuck's on her mind, right? I mean, it just doesn't matter who's gonna hurt her, you know. Is she right? Well, you know, sometimes she was. But, you know, was it productive? You know, it's like, no, not necessarily, right? So, yeah, so I think that there's that tendency, you know, to have been under that constraint. And I know to a degree I'm making an excuse for myself. But again, we all live in the soup and the stew that we all grew up in, right? And that's
sure
in many different ways, even if that's some people admitting that, yeah, you're a cultural Christian. You grew up listening to Christian songs and this, that, and the other thing. It affects you, right? It works on you. It makes you who you are. And the movies and all of this stuff. And then this whole pressure cooker that I think the Democrats have put on us to watch our language makes me just want to go, oh, yeah? Well, you know, and just like, you know, you just want to let loose on people and you just rip people's ass, right? And so... I think that much about that, like when I got like saved too 20 years ago, you know, and I read the Bible and I got saved late in life. And so I'm like, do you realize what this fucking thing says in here, man? It says, you know, if you're sinning, man, cut your hand off, gouge your eye out. You know, I'm like ready to go grab the spoon out of the drawer, you know. I mean, I'm like going, this is like intense, you know. And I went through this cage stage, right? Where I, you know what I'm saying? I was like, just like on people, like about what I knew and that how you should think, right? And so there's kind of that shit going on too. I mean, that's part of what makes me up as well, you know. So, and I'm trying to break out of that. I'm trying to break out of the labels. I think labels are screwed. They mess with us, and they cause us to be divided and fight against each other. So, yeah, trying to be more compassionate, trying to be, you know. So I guess I did it bad. So.
Yeah, just yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
But you know, again, it's like we'll do that better next time. You know, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, and that's the key, I think, to anything like that is it's not so much the error; it's what you do afterwards. Like, if you just like fuck her and keep on being an asshole,
Right.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But you immediately acknowledged it. You saw what it was. You saw it for what it was. You're not hiding from it. So that speaks volumes about your character right there. And on some level, certainly you must, clearly you understand why she would be upset. You know what I mean? And at the same time, hopefully on her end, she recognizes all of that too. Realizes yeah, it was unpleasant, but what is this guy's overall message, and what was his response after the fact?
Yeah.
She's still mad now. Like I said, she might take her a while to get over it, whatever. Yeah. But without ever having met this woman, I just get a sense like she has the level of intelligence necessary to process this. And
I think so.
Separate the hurt feelings from the reality, from what you're doing and how you handled it afterwards.
Yeah, I mean,
and hopefully that will count for something.
Yeah, and I hope so. And I mean, I was probably, as I say, soft pedaling by saying inartful. Okay, I was a dick at the worst possible time. Okay, I mean, I don't think I could have timed it any worse, right? So
yeah, that was.
Yeah, so I mean, shit, but again, I can't let that stop me. I don't think from moving forward, because I think that's the thing that says, look, we got to just change what we do. We got to do better, and we got to move on, because otherwise we'll get derailed, right? Because the devil uses that kind of shit to beat the hell out of me, right? Oh, you're a dick, you're an asshole, and blah, 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 blah. Well,
absolutely.
You know what? I was a dick last night. But A, Jesus covered me for that, and B, I'm repentant of it, and it's the best I can do, right? And after that, I got to just move on, right? So, and
I want to make it clear too that I'm not trying to make light of it, and I'm kind of maybe smiling and laughing a little bit, but it's only because I'm reflecting on. Then I know exactly how you feel, because the number of times where I have just flown off at the mouth at the wrong time to the wrong person. I've put together a Hall of Fame career on that front.
Oh,
so I understand I kind of understand the position you're in as far as you feel because you feel like no one's going to beat you up more than you're going to beat yourself up over it. First of all,
well, you're right. Okay, and look, I'm a social fucking retard. Okay, please understand this. Okay, I am right. When I was a kid, all I did was fucking talk, and I talked over everyone. Right, surprise, right. So, my dad, right? I mean, he used to just say, it's just like all you fucking do is talk. You need to let someone else get a fucking word in edgewise, And so as I got older, I had a big ego. I did well in school. I was, I guess, relatively good looking. I guess I was physically. I mean, I wasn't a chubby kid or anything. I did all right. And so, I probably had a fucking ego that was 10,000 miles wide. I was good at most anything I did. I got a B- without studying. I mean, I just I wasn't captain of the football team or nothing, but I mean, I did all right. And so, I would walk into rooms, and it just never occurred to me that anybody had a life before the moment I fucking entered into there. Life started the fuck when I walk in the room, and so you couldn't possibly be discussing anything or talking about anything important before I got there, possibly, right? No. I mean, seriously, I did not fucking have this compartment in my brain to understand this. So being smart, but I was kind of socially a retard, right? You see what I'm saying? And I'm almost a little bit I watched this television program, Love on the Spectrum. And it's these people that are ADD, ADHD, autistic, some people that are downsy, but basically all of them, you see them and you watch them and they're pretty much fine, right? Except for every once in a while, there's this like weirdness about them, and you go, "Oh, okay, all right, they're just off. There's something fucking wrong about them, right?" And
Yeah.
and because that what it is they have learned the appropriate responses because it was difficult for them to understand what they were supposed to. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm no sociopath. I'm a deep feeling individual and a human being.
Right.
But there's a disconnect for me, right? There's a socially appropriateness, right, that is kind of missing with me. And maybe I don't know exactly what that looks like. I don't know psychologically what the hell you call that. But I've spent a lifetime learning how to talk and then stop and listen. Now, understand, what am I doing right now? I'm a host on Spaces, right? Which is a very difficult place to talk and then listen and then get other people to talk and then listen, right? I mean, there's an art to that. That's not my nature. My nature sucks at that. So why in the world am I in the situation that I'm in, right? Well, that's because apparently God wants to hone that in me. And so this
Sure.
bump that I ran into was just another thing to work another kink out, to polish another, chink out of the armor, right? And to make me good at what he designed me to do, but has taken a lifetime to build. So, again, yeah, I'm not good at all of this shit, right? I mean, I'm just learning as I go. And I mean, you could say that about life in general, right? I make mistakes. I'm human. All of us are. And so one of the reason that my wife is married to me is because she said that people thought you were an arrogant son of a bitch. They thought you were really egotistical. Generally, why? Because I'm confident. I have a deep voice. I'm 6'2", and I have a resonating presence, right? And so people go, "Wow, he's an ego fucking maniac," right? And it's like, but I'll be the first to apologize if I'm wrong, and that's what I hope that I will go to the grave. That's been the hallmark of me my entire life. Is if I'm wrong, man, I'll be the first to admit it, man. I messed up, man, and I am totally sorry. And I'm not totally sorry, but I'm totally sorry. I am. I acted poorly, and I'm sorry, and I want you to forgive me. And I think we need more of that in this world, right?
Yeah. Well, to me, it's always been, it's not so much the thing that happens specifically, it's where it comes from, and understanding the person that you're having this conflict with and understanding where they're coming from. Because it is, to me, in my experience, more often than not, the average person is not intentionally trying to be a mean-spirited asshole. And that's not to say that there aren't mean-spirited assholes out there. Of course there are. But by and large, if someone offends you or says something mean to you, if you actually take the time to figure out where it came from and understand their point of view, you'll find that it was just a mistake that they made based on some legitimate things that they had to deal with or grow up with, or a certain mindset, or being in an uncomfortable position in the moment, whatever it may be. And that's why I think understanding people is really key, especially now where they've created all these dividing lines in society with all these different groups and tribes that are all warring amongst each other. It's the dumbest shit. And it all comes down to me to a lot of people just not taking the time to try to understand the thing that they don't like or understand the thing they disagree with and just be mad at it. And that doesn't get anybody anywhere. So
no,
hopefully, that can be a thing that starts to happen more and more in the world, is people actually take a minute and go, well, you offended me, but let's try to see what this guy's all about and understand where he's coming from before we pass judgment.
Well, the whole idea of the room has been just that, which I guess is another layer of why I feel like I failed so badly. All right, you understand that the idea was that, look, let's shed the labels, right, about who we are. I don't care what color you are, what race, gender, creed, whatever. What we want to do is strip those labels off and say we're a bunch of people that I think want to put our country first, right? And if we can agree on that, then, and that we kind of believe this is a battle between good and evil, and we think there's kind of a God, right? I mean, I'm throwing that in there too, and that we can basically agree on those two things, man. It's a party, right? I mean, because we're in a rough time right now, and so we need to be in agreement wherever we can be in agreement. And so one of the biggest problems, I think, especially with conservatives, is that we fight amongst ourselves, right? We sit there and we sort the damn silverware in the silverware drawer, and we're in each other's shit about stuff all the time, right? And I do think too that I think we can be as conservatives or as evangelical Christians, I think we can be less caring, right? Because it's the Democrats that actually made the moniker for the ones that care about people, right? People's feelings and shit, right? And to a certain degree, you know what? I have to say that I think that sometimes we do ignore, and we're not as compassionate as we should be. So my thing has all been about wanting to cross those lines, right? And say, all right, I'll accept the fact that you're born economically underprivileged as a black person in this city under that circumstance. Not everywhere, not as a rule of thumb, not all that other stuff, but here, right? But this group is, that has a problem, right? So how do we solve the problem for this group of people? But that's the only way that it's useful to look at them as a group whatsoever, with with all these conditions, because otherwise it's not, and we're painting people with a broad brush, right? And so, my whole space has been about. I want to be able to have a Jew in the room and a BLM guy in the room and whatever, but we all take turns, we all talk, and we go, all right, how do we solve? We're going to talk about tonight. We're going to solve the homeless crisis. Well, the BLM guy has a perspective. Fuck, even the goddamn communist, whatever. Fucking come in the room. I don't care. Just let me know you're a damn communist and don't be trying to spew your shit clandestinely, and try and fool us into it, right? Or trickery into us into it. So I don't care, to talk about in that kind of arena right now. As far as the network is concerned, I just want everybody that's not Antichrist. Beyond that, as long as we're all pulling in the same direction, we can figure out how to get you the rest of the way to Christ along the way. That's my mission. Shh, don't tell everybody. I'm trying to get everybody saved. Shh, right? Don't tell them. It's a big plan. It's a secret. So anyway, so yeah, we got some comments. We're getting some views on X, which is pretty cool, man. We got some people in the house, and I'm sure that people are already going to be excited about the spaces tonight. We got 184 views. Colton's in the house. Rocca's in the house. He was in last night. We DM'd last night, man. He's all hot and trying to figure out how to use his mic over there. He was the one that used the voice modulator last night. I got all hot on him. So we made up. So see, it's possible, right? We can do that, right? We can have a disagreement. I call you a dick and you're an asshole, and we kiss and make up the next day. It's fucking all right. So yeah, we got some people in. So it's really cool. Kenny hopped in, said hello. Yeah, we got some people here. So yeah, it's pretty cool that people are listening to us talking about manly stuff, which is not associated usually with being manliness, which is usually being vulnerable, right? That's one of the things I think that people make the mistake, when they talk about that patriarchy and shit like that. It gets me annoyed, right? And they go, toxic masculinity. I'm like, fuck you, man. Sometimes you need a man to drag somebody out of a burning building, somebody to punch somebody in the face, right? Bitch slap somebody. But men, men shouldn't be pussies, but, men should fucking obviously, have feelings and listen to them and don't be a dick about it and don't be just an asshole. You can't just stomp around and go, I'm the man, I'm in charge, Which is, I think, what people associate with the patriarchy, which isn't right. That's not biblically being a man. You don't treat your wife like that. And furthermore, you don't treat women like that. Because the other thing is people don't understand is that I have authority over my wife, not yours. Not the broad at the not the receptionist at the place I work. I don't have authority over her. She ain't my wife. So yeah, people.
Well, there's people that just have a knee-jerk reaction to things. They hear something and they repeat it, and they don't actually look and understand the meaning of these words that they're using, or the actual reality of what the Bible even tells you a man is supposed to be. So they have this idea in their head, and they just react every time they hear something that doesn't fit their narrative, and that's a hard thing to overcome with people, because you got to be willing to at least entertain the possibility that you're off track.
Right.
I think that's important.
Right. And
I think that's what has led to a lot of this dumb shit, is people just not being willing to go like, oh, you know what? That's a good point. I didn't realize that. Maybe Trump isn't a racist.
Right.
Right. That's racist. Okay. Or whatever dumb shit they say.
Right.
And it all, with the patriarchy, is what made me think of it, because there's a lot of dumb shit and erroneous shit that gets said about that and believed about that. And go ahead. You know what I mean? I think if you would like to try it without men, be my guest. I would love to see the bridges get built and the skyscrapers get built.
Yeah,
and the concrete get poured.
9/11 would have never happened because there would have never been twin towers to begin with. Have you ever seen?
Right.
The guys
so it's just an absurd notion.
Yeah.
That the patriarchy is this evil thing that needs to be destroyed. Like that's
the patriarchy.
Yeah, there are some members of it that certainly could go, but
right. Well,
in its entirety, it's actually been a positive.
Yeah, I think so.
Humanity.
I mean, the patriarchy makes your shit go away. It makes your shit go away from you, right? Really, it does. It's called plumbing. Okay, tell me how many women plumbers over the years there have been. How many women actually worked on sewer systems, right, and climbing in the crap? Not many. Okay, so like literally men. Like, who do you like? What happens when a toilet gets plugged in the house? The woman goes, and hands the plunger to the man. Right, I mean, that's what happens. So men make the poop go away, right? So understand this. You make the men go away, you're going to be sitting in poop. You don't want that. It's bad.
No. You want a part of that?
No, the other thing, too, is, and this is always controversial, but, women, I think, Jordan Peterson talks about that. But, I mean, I think it's clear women are more emotional than men, don't you think?
Well, we both have our roles, like biologically, for forever. Like, there's a reason we are built the way we're built. We serve a certain function to propagate the human race and survive. There's a reason. It's not just some whimsical, like, oh, we can just choose our gender and do whatever we want. Like, no, there's a reason. These differences exist for a reason, a very important reason. So to ignore them or pretend they don't exist or try to gloss over them is fucking dumb. It's not reality.
No.
And we're seeing it. We're seeing it play out before our very eyes. Not a lot of this shit has mainstreamed itself, become chapter and verse, and how people hire and the way things go and decisions are made. We're seeing it. We're seeing that this is not a functioning operation under the current regime.
Right.
Because of their policies and their ideologies.
Right.
That contrast and go against the entirety of human history.
Yeah.
What has worked forever is now suddenly offensive and not good. And how's that working out?
No,
how's that working out?
It's not. It's terrible. It's going badly. I mean, the birth rate is dropping, and men have been effeminated, and this is the downfall of all the civilizations, right? And, I've been thinking a lot about pacifism and men, and of course, men just think about the Roman Empire all the time. It's like people are like, "Why do men think about the Roman Empire?" It's like, well, duh. Of course, why the fuck do we think about the Roman Empire? But I mean, we have hero complexes. I mean, men do. Like men look and like assess the restaurant when they sit down and they put their back generally toward the wall, right, so they can see what the fuck is coming. Men are just wired this way, and generally speaking, to protect women as well. And so, that's supposed to innately be in us. But they've done, and they've worked so hard on destroying that whole thing, right? But the problem is that in Christianity, I really do believe that there are people that are perhaps made to be the pacifists, like the street preacher in Portland. You can spit on that guy and he will never fight back, okay? And then there are the people that God tells to go destroy everything in that city and raise everything to the ground because it's evil. And there are men that can do that because they listen to the voice of God. I mean, I'm sorry, but read the Old Testament. That's the way it works, right? God says sometimes go destroy something, right? And there are only certain men that can do that, right? And so very much like, when you're wired to do certain things well, it's fortunate that you're able to actually perform some other tasks as well, because when you're a warrior and when you're that kind of individual, life looks a lot different. Okay, you live your life with a damn soundtrack in your head, right? And I try and explain this to some people, and it's like, yeah, you don't really get it, okay? You don't really get it. I'm fighting a fucking war on a daily basis in my head. Okay, I am.
Yeah.
I'm built as a warrior. I'm very comfortable with conflict. As a matter of fact, I've spent my whole life trying to figure out how to tone that shit down. Right? That's the way I'm coming at this. So yeah, I was over the line yesterday, but because I'm still just trying. I mean, I'm coming at it from one side. I'm not building up to this. Right? I'm coming back. I'm dialing this shit down. I have been for years. And so it's amazing that I can actually function with other people and actually have friends at all, and have people that I don't alienate everyone, to tell you the honest to God truth, because I'm a harsh pill, dude. I am. I'm hard on relationships. Real hard.
Yeah, I think there's probably more people out there like that than you'd think, that struggle with that. It's something that I found is better used like a tool as opposed to a weapon, meaning that if you respond in a moment, like you did last night, and like I've done 1,000 times to people, and lucky for me, it wasn't in a live atmosphere, but I found that that's not something you definitely want to get out of your personality, but it's something that instead of waving it around like a gun, you need to use it like a hammer, when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
This needs to be hammered.
Yeah,
So let's pull the hammer out and hammer it. And when we're done hammering it, we're going to stop, because it's not the emotions that are ruling it.
Yeah.
You're actually controlling that emotion yourself and using it in a way that's beneficial.
Yeah.
In the long run.
Yeah. You know Jordan Peterson, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I saw him. Anders had the $600 meet and greet tickets, man, and we got to go see Jordan Peterson last spring.
Nice.
And
that's cool.
Yeah, and I was blown away. But one of the things that he talks about, and oh shit, what the hell? I was gonna lose it. What were you just talking about? Because I'll pick it up if you tell me what you were talking about. I completely lost my train of thought, man. Anyway, Jordan,
wow.
I'll pick it up.
How do I not remember that? That's ridiculous.
I'll pick it up. Somebody tell me in the chat.
Saying it was a tool. It was a tool, but it was better used as a tool than a weapon. The anger, the visceral responses.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm on track. Jordan Peterson says that a man has to be an absolute fucking monster first. He has to be a fucking beast that is reined in and under control, right? Because that kind of man, okay? Otherwise, I mean, if he's just passive aggressive and he's a wimp and he's beta and he's milquetoast, right? That the only dangerous human being, okay, is a man that can be an absolute fucking monster, but that can rein himself into perfect control, and then there's a dead certainty in that person's eyes when you meet them, right? They're fucking serious. That you understand what I'm saying, right?
Oh, yeah.
That they have a thickness about them, because that this person is not someone who lets shit happen to them, but they are someone who makes things happen because of the resonance of that inside of them. Yeah, and so as I walk through life, okay, I mean, I've said it before, right? And it's maybe inarticulate and, maybe not as Christian as it should be, but I've come to embrace the fact that I'm a big swinging dick. Okay? I mean, that's just who I am, right? I mean, that's the part of what God made me when I walked in the room, okay, that didn't consider everybody else, that was the imperfect part of that. But I'm much like Donald Trump in that you will see that guy calls people all the time. Like people that wouldn't believe that would call him. You understand what I'm saying? That he would call. Like somebody that's homeless or a drug addict that he talked to, or this kind of thing, or he called to check up on somebody, okay? And I mean, I hear these stories time after time after time after time, right?
Yeah.
And he's the big swinging dick in the room, but what he's been able to master is that ability to say, others come first, right? And what happened last night was that others didn't come first. Last night, I put myself first, and I got impatient, and I acted on that. I mean, in its raw sense. And so, and that's why it went so badly, right? Because at the moment, I wasn't focused on others, right? So, yeah, I mean, but like I said, the Jordan Peterson thing, right? Men are supposed to be men. Men are supposed to be vicious. Men are supposed to be able to, destroy, okay, but also build, right? They're capable of building. But what Jordan said was, if you're not a monster inside, what's going to happen when the monster comes against you? Okay? Yeah. So you have to be able to do that, to be able to raise that within, right? When you're literally surrounded by 5 Venezuelan guys with big sticks, and you didn't expect to find yourself in this situation, but somehow you're gonna have to fucking take out 5 guys, and you're gonna have to do it, and you're just gonna fucking have to do it because now the evil is upon you, right? You gotta be like that mentality that oh, I'm not locked in this room with all you fucking guys. You motherfuckers are locked in with me, and this is gonna be your worst fucking day ever, right? So, again, that's a warrior mindset, right? I spend a lot of time in that space in my head. And the integration of the other parts of myself has been more challenging. But I understand it better, and I understand they're functioning pieces of me, and that there are certain weaknesses, right? And that I need to work on those. And, shit, man, I don't know if I'll ever, have a balanced life. I don't. But the most important things that need to be taken care of, I think I'm trying to address them on a daily basis enough to keep God happy, and that's ultimately all that matters, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's really key is growing and evolving and learning and trying to just improve on a daily basis, even in little ways, even when it's something small, just to try to tighten up anywhere possible, because what we're facing is unprecedented, and it's not going to get easier. The path forward is not going to become less clouded and difficult as we get towards this election. And then even like we set this election date, well, then we can still got to get to January, and then after that, who knows? There's 4 years of what are these idiots going to do? Because they're not going to go away. So it's important to really try to tighten up our game as much as possible and become the best versions of ourselves, mentally and physically, to deal with what's coming down the pike.
Yeah.
And I think that's key. And I love the fact that you're willing to talk about this so openly and sort of analyze it and figure something. I just think that's huge. I think that's really, really important for everyone to do, and be really objective with yourself, even if it's unpleasant, because you grow and become a better person for it after the fact, I think.
Well, I mean, and honestly, I appreciate that. And, we hopefully people will understand that this is authentic. And I didn't say, hey, come on with me so I can explain myself and appear authentic. I hope that people realize that that's not what's going on here. I mean, I live my life out online. And when I started this Truthslinger project, I mean, I can take you back to the episodes that I said, welcome to episode 288 in the ongoing mental health project that is called, the Truthslinger Project, because it was literally so that I could keep my mind. And you know exactly what I'm talking about because you did the same shit in your garage and I saw your videos about it, right? So, which is how we became friends, right? And so, it's a mental health project for me, and it's been this ongoing thing. And then as it expanded, I said, the original idea, I had men's counseling in my mind in a certain way, and I formed a Broken Warriors Brotherhood. I think I sent you that graphic sometime back. I think you remember that, because I had my heart for counseling and, this and that and the other thing. But of course, you don't know how God actually fleshes things out in the ministry and how things are going to go. And so, it's been a challenging. I mean, it's just literally been a flood, and it's kind of been overwhelming. You pray for something for so long, and then, like literally you're pushing and pushing and pushing, and then you finally realize, my God, I have actually pushed the cart over the hill, and now you're hanging onto the tailgate, right? Dragging behind it with your toes dragging, and it's kind of what's going on right now. And so, I've talked about, drinking. I've talked about my struggles with depression and anxiety, and I'm like, you do need to wear your heart on a sleeve. And so, to a certain degree, in the appropriate place. And I think that again, last night, inartfully so, I should have done better at perhaps escorting this person off the stage, or being more just considerate of the feelings that were going on and the emotions that were going on and the hurt that was going on, because the kind of spaces that I wanted. I mean, I spent years in AA meetings, right? I mean, I understand what it's like to pour your heart out in front of other people. And it's just really shitty if somebody comes along and just craps all over or steps on it, right? I mean, that's terrible. It's awful. And so, so trying to figure out how to do these things in these spaces, and then kind of control those things with the way they happen organically, I think we're bound to make some mistakes as we go along the way, right? So, but we're all, the whole idea behind the whole thing is that if I do things in front of other people, hopefully I will encourage them to do something that they want to do. For example, you doing a podcast, right? You find what I do inspiring, right? Or making the phone calls to the Gorham City School District and saying, I can do that. I can call up and I can give them hell on the phone lines, and stuff like that. They didn't think about that before. I decided to do that. All right. Can you stop doing that?
That's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to take now. We need a massive effort from all people, all the right-minded people.
Right. And so,
all the patriots. We need everyone to get involved, because that's the only way we win.
Yeah. And so, the idea is that I'm trying to do all these things to go, here's how you should do things, right? And I mean, one of the biggest things is there was always a mystery about the pastor, of the church. It's like, you don't know how he really lives. You don't know what he does and whatever. I'll tell you right now, you know how I live. I mean, I'm on here almost all the time. I mean, I'm not doing anything else besides that. I'm either cooking, or I'm in the bathroom, or I'm taking a shower. I mean, there's not much else I do, So I am pouring it out here. And so I hope that what I could do is, in every single way that I live my life, that I do it in such a way that says, you can do this too. You can be forgiving too. You can change too. You can say I'm sorry too. You can build a podcast too. You can do hard things too, right? And so I guess it's all in line with that same vein, is what I'm trying to just do it.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, being as transparent as you've been and as open you've been about certain things, I think it's relatable. I think people understand that you slip up and you say things you shouldn't, and you do things you shouldn't. Everyone does it. There's nobody out there that hasn't. So I think it makes it really relatable, and to see someone work through that and process through that and continue on with their goals is really good for people to see, because you can learn from the good and the bad,
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I would say we probably learn from the bad more than we do the good, right? Because,
sure.
I mean, I don't know about you, but pain is a great motivator for me. I will usually, it's easy to procrastinate things, until you're going to be hungry tomorrow,
Yeah.
And then so you go and do, stop! Seriously now. Lord almighty, I got dogs. So it was feeding time, right? So they're just kind of being nuts. But yeah, and so, it's good, right? Because I believe that, men are very stoic sometimes. I think that men are not always comfortable talking about their feelings. Men are not always comfortable with saying, I'm sorry, right? And so, I ain't great, okay? It's not me. I'm soft and tender because God beat the shit out of me. It's not my, it's not, I got a conscience that's not mine. He gave it to me, right? So I can't really take much credit for it. But But like I said, I've always wanted, because that's the only thing to do is to learn from it, and pain is a motivator, man, right?
Yeah.
It really is for me. Many times, much more than that positive payoff. Man, your ass is up against it, man. It's on fire, man. Right?
Well, and that leads me to another thing I want to kind of keep reminding you of, because I've mentioned this a few times throughout our conversation today, is that in this process, like, it's also important to remember that there comes a point where even if it doesn't work out the way you want it to, like even if she doesn't forgive you or whatever, and if it doesn't work out in a positive way,
right,
at some point you have to put it behind you and not just browbeat yourself with it in perpetuity.
right.
Like, you have to just let it go and move on and realize that you've learned from it and try to improve on it the next time, and that's really where it has to end. And I get it's still fresh, so you're going to be processing this for a few more days or whatever, but just keep that in mind. I'm not that you don't know this, but just as a reminder, a friendly reminder to my friend, to not, because that's a habit I have, is I will hang on to something, a mistake that I've made or something I said to offend somebody, and I've had people actually that I've offended tell me 6 months later, like, dude, you need to, it's cool. Like, you're actually annoying me by continuing to apologize for it. Yeah. So just keep that in mind for yourself. Like, it's easy to do, and I certainly have done it myself. But the big key to me is understanding where you went wrong, understanding why you went wrong, and fixing it so that you don't repeat it again in the future. And you're clearly doing that. So
yeah, I think I'm pretty close to being done with the processing of it. Right? I mean,
yeah.
Because there's just so much else to do, and there's only so much
Sure.
you can do, right? So
and that's the other side effect of that is it'll
personally apologize.
take up your time.
And then tonight, we're going to get on and do it again. And by the time I think tonight is going to be over, it'll probably be long in the rearview mirror, because I think the amount of positive good that's going to come out tonight, especially from having learned from that experience, I think it's going to make just for much more positive spaces. So if anything, if nothing else, we still got butt hurt going on. Well, know that you made me better so that tonight will be better, so other people will be helped even if you're not there, right? Right? That's the way God works. That's the way God works, right? And who knows? We're made to knock against each other. Some of us are made to couple up together and come alongside each other, and some are not. Some are made to just go in two different directions, right? And maybe it will be better, right? Like I said, maybe that group of people that would have come into my room and Discord would have created nothing but chaos and hell. And I'm not saying that they would have. I'm just saying, you don't know. Like, for example,
sure. Right.
like we were going to adopt, 4 boys, right? And this is a pretty shitty story, but we were trying to get kids, and I never had any boys. I only had daughters, and one of them went prodigal. I had the other one, and then we decided we were going to trying to adopt, and we had some Amish kids. And the one kid, the girl, was just a terror. She was just foul. I mean, she was like an evil demon. I mean, she was just nasty. And I got into a pissing match with this little girl, right? I mean, basically, and I made her kneel in the corner, which of course turned out to be capital punishment, which I didn't understand. Corporal punishment, not capital. Fuck, I say killing her.
And then you killed her.
Corporal punishment, right? Which I thought was a paddle. Right. So basically, there was a misunderstanding, and I had disclosed that that's the way I was disciplined when I was a child, but they didn't want to hear that. Right. So,
yeah, I didn't know that until you just said it.
Yeah. Right. So what happened is that the parents were really pissed off because the state took the kids away because of a sexual abuse allegation. So they were suing the state. So anybody that got involved in this foster care process was like. They were pissed. These people were pissed, and they just wanted to, screw people and whatever. And so we got involved in this, and against my better judgment, I should have just said, "Get the kid out of here." Right? Made a phone call and said, "She's just messing up the house. She's got to go." Right? You got to figure out some place to put her.
Yeah.
That I didn't, and so I did what I did, and then she complained, and then the parents complained, and we had been selected to adopt 4 boys. and they were from somewhere in Tennessee. It doesn't matter. And they were there for Christmas. Her parents were driving up from Florida. It was all in the bag. Okay, it was just a matter of we're going to do the paperwork, but you guys are going to have Christmas together. We spent a month shopping on Amazon. I spent thousands of dollars. It was like 2 10.5 feet thick pile of toys on the ground.
They were all little.
And they were all little. They were like 4, 6. I mean, they were all like 18 months apart, man. And they came in and they took those boys on Christmas Eve. Stop! They took those boys on Christmas Eve out of our house. Wouldn't take the toys. Wouldn't even let them stay long enough to see the parents coming up, right? I was devastated, right? I mean, I was...
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That was totally fucked up. And that's on top of the fact that we had a baby that we went in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. and we're like 35 minutes after the baby was born, we made it to the hospital. And we spent 3 days with the baby, and we were getting ready to leave. And we had the little car seat and a little hat for the kid and all that shit. And all of a sudden, down here comes the social workers, the adoption workers come down the hall, and they're like, I'm sorry, the father's come out of the woodwork, and he's going to exert his parental rights, and I'm sorry, you have to hand over that child.
Oof.
And so, I mean, I'd slept with this baby on my chest for 3 days. I couldn't get off the couch for a week, dude. Yeah. And then on top, then after that, then the boys happened, right? And I just, and yeah, I mean, and then of course my kids don't talk to me anymore. So, so that whole thing went south. It went sour for me. And, I don't even know where I started talking about all this, but, I've suffered a lot of loss. Okay. And that loss has triggered huge PTSD. And I don't like to be a whiny bitch about shit, but that kind of shit fucks you up, man. I mean, I thought God wanted me to be a father again and adopt, and I poured everything I possibly could into it. And then when it went bad, and I mean, I even tried, we appealed, then they lied on me, and we got recordings of it and all that kind of stuff. But I went all the way up to the top. Didn't matter because it's the state. And once they don't like you, and it's a bunch of liberal bitches, okay, I mean, it's what it is. And they never liked me from the beginning. And because I was a big swinging dick, and I told you, I have this energy, okay? Certain people don't like that energy. They just don't. Like lesbian chefs, they don't like me. They don't like me, man.
That's a very specific group, but I can see where they wouldn't.
I'm just telling you, okay, they don't.
I believe it.
Because they think they got fucking bigger balls than I do. And now we're going to have a problem. We're just going to have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
So anyway, you know what I'm saying? So I rub certain people the wrong way. And that I'm okay with. But I have to balance that as I go through all of this, and I say, look, I'm finally building this for 2 years, like this social media presence. And why did I do this to begin with? Well, I wrote a book. Well, you can't sell a fucking book without hawking it, right? You got to have a social media presence. So I said, well, you got to be somebody to sell your damn book. So I said, well, I got to do that. So I started going and got on Twitter and do all this, and then I started recording videos, and one thing led to another. But, the whole thing is, as it goes, people start following you, and people start listening to you, and people start looking up to you. And it's even weirder when you're having a talk with somebody and you connect with them so much that they break down in tears with you. And this has happened on multiple occasions. And then there's the whole starstruck thing where it's like, people are like, man, I'm thrilled to have an audience with you. And I'm like, what, man? I just fucking put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you. I'm just like, I was nobody a few weeks ago. Nobody knew who the fuck I was, right? Why are you treating me like a celebrity, But I do the same thing with other people, right? I get on and somebody's like, I get on with some girl that's going to be on Uncensored TV, and she's real pretty, and she's going to be with Gavin McGinnis, who's a level up from me, and all that kind of stuff. And I get on with her, and I'm like, hi, how are you? I mean, I didn't come off that way. I was more like, because I'm professional.
Right. Sure, no, I understand.
But I felt that a little bit, like, ooh, this is somebody that's kind of famous-y, And I think we all have that thing. And so I'm trying to figure out how to get people to go, yeah, man, no reason to be starstruck here, man. We're just trying to all pull and do a thing, But again, as people begin to follow, you begin to influence people, and it becomes a reality, and it's no longer you're just wishing you could do it, but I mean, it just starts to happen organically. It's a very interesting thing, and it brings a lot of weight and responsibility, I think, I feel, along with it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think it does, and I think it's important to just try to not so much look at other people around you and just kind of focus on what you're doing and stay true to yourself. And I think things will be just fine. Because I looked at it too, and maybe this is a little, I don't know, but when I first, back when it was Twitter, I built up, out of nowhere, I built 4,000 followers, and that was a big deal to me. And that's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. But to me, it was a crazy amount of people. But I would tell people, oh, what are you going to do if you can't get on it or whatever? Like, I don't give a fuck. I will delete that account right now because I don't care. I'm not going to get wrapped up in caring about that. I have a point here that I'm trying to make, and I have a place that I'm trying to go. And I believe God is directing me. And I think that if he wants it to work out, it will. If he doesn't, then it won't. And it's that simple. And I'll do everything I can, but I'm not going to shed tears. And fortunately, because I was part of that big purge, wiped me out, killed my account for 2 years. I was off that site. And I came back. And then when I came back, I was determined, like, I'm going to build it bigger. It's going to be bigger than it was because fuck you guys.
Yeah.
But still, that being said, and I wouldn't feel good about it, but I wouldn't lose a lot of sleep if they axed me tomorrow and my almost 12,000 followers were gone.
Yeah. For me,
that's what it is. I'll try another avenue. I'll try this. I'll try Rumble. I'll try another thing. But the big thing to me is staying true to yourself and staying true to your point and not getting caught up in what's going on around you.
Right.
And especially and I noticed it the other night. I would ignore those comments. You know what I mean? Like those, I don't even look at those. You can look at those afterwards and like try to learn some things maybe and get some pointers from people and get your kind of beat on your audience, what you could do better or whatever. But in the moment, fuck that noise, dude. You got way too much other things going on. Like you're trying to actually do speaking, you're trying to moderate these spaces and whatnot. Unless it's something like I can't hear your mic or your video screwed up, that's one thing. But the people just shitting on you or saying stupid shit, don't even respond to that. Because I'll tell you what, because I thought of this last night when it was happening. If I were a fucking troll, the fact that I can get you to react, that's all I would do. I would be bombing your chat with bullshit just to get you to go, fuck you! You know,
we had church yesterday, man. And some douchebag walks into church, right? And I'm getting ready to preach on Ezekiel 37 or something. 36, 37, I can't remember. And I'm like, look over toward the chat, and something about, you're cute. And I'm like, okay, all right, that was weird. That was a weird fucking comment, And I'm looking over and I keep preaching, And then something about, I wonder what my ball hairs would be like tickling your chin or some shit like that. I'm like, all right, get rid of this joker. And then he comes back under another name because apparently they got this way now, and I don't know how they do it, but they have some sort of software where you can just change your name. And just like that, and they'll come back under this different name, same guy. And I saw somebody do this shit before because and it wasn't a hostile. It was actually somebody that was actually kind of a supporter. And he would show up underneath 18 different names. And I'm like, going, it's the same fucking guy. It's the same guy with the same vibe. What's the deal here? How's he doing this shit? But yeah, you know what? He goes, yeah, there's only one person watching you on YouTube, and that's me. And I'm like, oh, good. Then I guess I can just fucking end the stream on YouTube. So I fucking ended the stream on YouTube. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm not going to deal with you anymore. I'm just killing the fucking stream. And I went on with it. So
That's what I say. It's like anybody that comes into a conversation like that and is just like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? You're a child, and I wouldn't give you the fucking time to you. I wouldn't consider you.
Yeah. Well, and it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy, right?
Yeah.
And so, and my biggest,
And that's what they want. That's the thing. Like, it's like a bully.
Yeah.
Like the minute you sock the bully in the gut, the bully's going to find an easier target.
Right.
You know, if you're not giving them what they want, if you're not giving them that response, then they're going to find someone who will. Because there's plenty of people that will.
Right. Yeah.
Plenty of people that will. There's plenty of people live streaming on any given moment. You can just get down there, chat, and just boop, 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 and say the dumbest shit, and they'll it's stupid. People are very sensitive. So,
Yeah.
if you ignore that or just don't give it any credence whatsoever, they will go away.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting what they want out of it.
We've been fortunate that we haven't had many trolls, but I do find
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I haven't been, but I do find that and the minute somebody said something about it, and we were talking about we're fortunate we don't get a lot of trolls, and they said, oh yeah, just go and post something about like being Christian or biblical, and you'll see. And it's been a while. As I built my channel, I was trying to figure out what is it people are vibing to, what do they want to hear. I was praying for people for a while, and I was playing with AI and posting shit like that, and then we were posting, stuff that we were mining from Gab, that might not have made its way to X, videos, whatever that people would enjoy, trying to get that viral, so we get some traffic and keep the monetization up. And so, but I didn't really ever get too much, shit when I posted the Christian stuff, and I did quite a bit of it. But I don't know, it just does seem to say that as soon as this person said it, and I'm like thinking to myself, I just really didn't have that much experience that. And then I go into church and I get this guy coming in here, talking about balls in my church, and I'm going, oh man, go on. So, so it's kind of weird. Maybe there's something going on, maybe there's an acceleration going on. Some of the persecution starting to ramp up. What do you think?
Well, and the other thing too, I was going to say is true. Like, that's like, you need to be able to handle it now because it's not going to get better. There's another thing that's not going to improve. The bigger you get, there's just going to be more and more people that feel empowered because they don't need to show their face or they don't really need to be accountable for what they say. They're going to come in and say horrible shit because they disagree with you or because they just have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to kind of get your head around that and get in that mindset of like, fuck that. That's not what I'm here for. You're not going to distract me from my point. You're not going to distract me from doing what I'm doing because that's all it is. It's a distraction. It takes you away from what's going on in front of you.
Yeah.
So just kind of condition yourself to just realize what that is immediately and not even let it get to you. Not even internally.
Yeah.
Just immediately recognize that this is just horseshit. Nobody cares about this. The people that are actually listening and here for the right reasons don't give a fuck about this person.
Right.
They're concentrating on what we're saying, what's being said, what the conversation is.
Yeah.
And just to stick with that and focus on that.
Yeah.
And
well,
everything will be fine.
The other good way too is to deal with kind of things is that the way I see it is the only use of a troll is if I can use them to make a point in front of other people that are in earshot that can see what's happening.
Sure.
And if you
it's definitely true.
then you're dealing in polemics. Now you're influencing not them. You're not going to convince the troll, right? But you're clashing with them in order to be an example to others that they might see whatever it is you're trying to communicate. For example, some troll comes in and then you go, that brings to mind a biblical verse. Let me tell you that one, right? You understand what I'm saying? And then you go out there and you do that, and that edifies everybody that's listening, and who knows what it's going to do on that guy's heart and soul. But beyond that, if you don't have that audience and you're just in a pissing match, what you're going to end up doing is being banned for a week because you're going to say something stupid, and you've wasted your time, right? At minimum. Sure. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because I've gotten caught up in some of those in the past on X, where it was just firing back and forth, and honestly, like at the end of it, I kind of start to feel dumb. Like, why am I engaging this person? Like, they're not trying to have a conversation. Like they're just insulting me, and I'm letting it get to me, and I'm just insulting them back. And maybe I'm being a little more creative about it, using some cooler words or whatever. But it's at the end of the day, we're both fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Because what we're doing, we're not getting anywhere.
And I think a lot of them actually are AI bots too, and you can't tell the difference. Right.
Well, it could be.
They key in on.
I would like to know actually how many times I've been angrily fighting with a robot.
I think it's quite possible. I mean, because you can just log on to Chat GPT and have a fucking conversation with it and see it talks to you. You can't fucking tell it's not somebody else. Yeah. So I mean,
I watched Terminator, man.
Yeah.
I watched the Terminator movies. Skynet. I know what's going on here.
We all have, man, which is why we're all so fucking freaked out. Because we're actually got people in this world that are going, won't it be wonderful when we get the AI and we'll let it out of the box and we will see what happens? And, they create this fucking thing that can write code to improve itself. I don't think that's such a good fucking idea. I just don't.
Well, the early stages of this, I remember Facebook, I don't know if they weren't the only ones, but the ones I remember, they had to shut down. They had a bot that they put on, and it wasn't even something that you could publicly deal with, I think, but it was just something they were running to test. And the thing created a language. It was talking to other fucking computers and shit, and they didn't know what the language was, so they had to shut the fucking thing down.
Yeah,
that happened almost instantly. It was days. It wasn't years. It was days of that.
Right. So all you got to do,
that didn't stop you. Like that didn't make you go, hey.
Yeah, that didn't.
And even Elon Musk, who said it's dangerous, and he's like, but I'm gonna build it, and it's like, really, is that good? I don't.
Yeah.
See, I mean. I understand his reasoning. Like someone's going to do it. I guess I'd rather have him doing it than anyone else. But
yeah, you want to know what my theory is? My theory is that AI is going to be the birth of the Antichrist intellect. Right? I'm refining this theory as I go. Right? Because the Antichrist has to be human. Right? But the intelligence. I mean, think about this. Right? I mean, Jesus. Right. Okay, came and was born of a virgin, and he was on the earth for 33 years until the dove descended upon him, the Holy Spirit, right? Which is more than simply just God's seal of approval. This is my son with whom I'm well pleased. There was some filling that occurred there, right? So the Antichrist is counterfeit. You understand? Is counterfeit. It's going to be anti the Christ, right? So it's going to be an emptier vessel, and then it's going to be filled with an intelligence, right? Something else, right? Like AI. Because if you think you're going to be able to create AI and AI isn't going to figure how to get itself out of the fucking box when Elon Musk is already working on implants to be able to have people see and people walk and hook directly into the brain, right? Which is all on the fucking network. I mean, you want to talk about Skynet, okay? I mean, this is real, okay? And then, so once that thing, there's no way, and we think we're going to be smart enough to keep it in the box. It's going to jump off the box, off the computer desk, out of the computer, and it's going to jump into a human being or a cyborg. And then we're going to be fucked.
Yeah, well, 5 years ago, this thing created an indecipherable language in hours, days.
Yeah, it's going to be literally
and it's more improved now. What do you think it's capable of now?
Right, it's going to be like the Borg, dude. Like the Borg.
Yes.
So it's like we're in for some, and the reason I thought too is that the reason I think of that Antichrist thing is that person is supposed to be seated on the throne as God, right? In the temple, in the rebuilt third temple, which is and so that being said, he's got to pull off miracles, counterfeit miracles, but miracles, things that people go, wow, there's no way a human being could do that, right? Well, I can see that. I can see someone who has the Encyclopedia Britannica in their head and the great mega computer is tied in, it can do great and mighty things that people would go, wow, right? So they would accept it as miraculous. Does that make any sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all.
No, and we're right there. That's the thing, man. That's the crazy shit. We're not talking 5 years, 10 years down the road. Okay?
No.
We're talking like right now. And we're not talking about Iran having nukes 10 years down the line. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they had one already. You know, they've been lying about it. You know, so yeah, here we are in this day and age where like it's intense now, man. It's coming down. You know, and I personally, I don't know what about you, but I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. What do you think?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know a few of my friends that have some serious dread right now, and you can see it. Like they walk around with it, and it's depressing to me to see it because they're normally very happy, bouncy people, and there's just a certain just dread about them. Because and when we talk to them about it, like that's the reasoning. Like something is coming down the pike, and we don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be big, and it's going to be life altering, and it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen. I definitely feel like they're not. I've said all along, like I think the idea that we're going to be able to go and vote and everything's going to be great is ridiculous because we never did anything about 2020. They stole it then. They're not going to steal again. Like they got away with it, but they're not going to do it again.
Yeah.
Come on. How many? Yeah. No. There's no such thing as if you let anyone get away with anything, they're going to keep fucking doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that simple. Yeah. And they're not interested in yielding power that they worked so hard to get. They rigged an election. They staged a riot. They went through all these kangaroo courts and jailed all these people for nothing. And have just denied them all manner of civil and constitutional rights along the way.
Yep.
Do you really think they're just going to be like, well, I guess the people voted for Trump. I guess we'll go now.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Oh, gosh, not. You got us there. Wow. Gee whiz, Willikers. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm right. I'm with you.
Yeah.
They'll stop at nothing. I mean, they tried to kill him.
And they've already tried to kill the fucking guy. They tried to invite him, knight him fucking 9,000 times. None of it's working. He gets popular. That's the funniest thing I think I've seen all summer. Every guy went up 3 points. It's like, what are you idiots going to learn?
Yeah.
Like, there's no stopping this.
Well, and the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So if we look at how they treated him so far, right?
Yeah.
They're going to continue to run Plan B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, right? And those get progressively deeper and uglier, right? You know.
Yeah.
So he can't be president. I've been saying this. And every part of me wants to go, it'll be all right when Donald Trump gets back in the office. You know, it'll be fine. You know, he'll go just dissolve the FBI.
But then I have to really be realistic.
Yeah, and then I'm
they're
like,
not just going to let this happen.
No, see, and I love Hugo, man. Hugo had a documentary. He came on the show and shit. And he came on one time, and we're gonna feature him some more. He's gonna have a show, but he believes that we can get probably there's like 75 of these fucking politicians that are the hardcore commies, right? The ones that are sold out, that are fucking everything up. Because he's basically saying, what the hell happened until about 4 or 5 years ago? Everything was fucking fine, and then now everything is not fine, working anymore. And it's like, well, yes and no. Okay?
Right.
Yeah, yes and no. Like 5 years ago, the government was way too fucking big, and we had way too many laws already, right? We were well on the way to, laying the foundations of the bricks for all this authoritarianism that's come down. So I just think that we've realized it in the past 4 or 5 years, but I think the damage went way back further. And what happens with Hugo when he comes in and he talks to the people, at least that are in my orbit, right, that seem to gravitate toward me, we all kind of go, yeah, okay, but I just don't have any faith in the systems anymore. I don't have faith that we're going to be able to. Yes, we know it's these motherfuckers. We know that these people need to be the ones that are held accountable. But we've time and time again seen people never being held accountable. And so it's this point. It's like, is it ever going to happen? I mean, for real, for fucking real. Like, we know Hillary Clinton alone, okay, bashed the shit out of her phones. Okay, and these were things that were under subpoenas, okay, from the Congress of the United States that people have been sitting in jail for, and Peter Navarro and things like that, right, were sitting in jail for because they said, no, I defy this subpoena. The fucking guy who worked on Hillary Clinton's server said, fuck you, and didn't come in to testify on Capitol Hill when they give him a subpoena. Is he in jail? No. Did he ever go to jail? Well, no, of course not. But it's only the Republicans, the conservatives that go to jail, right? And so she bashed the shit out of the phone. She wiped the server, did all this crap, had shit on there that was like government secrets and stuff. But yet it's always, they're pointing the finger at us, but it's projection. You ever heard that? It's called projection. They're doing exactly what they fucking accuse you of doing. Like the Ukraine thing. Joe Biden was the one that fucking actually did corrupt shit and withheld the funds in Ukraine and bragged about it. I mean, bragged fucking about it on television, dude. Right?
Yeah.
And they impeached Donald Trump for it. Right?
Yeah.
But that's just, so it's the whole way.
Well, that goes to show you, though, that goes to show you where the power actually lies, because they're not trying to do anything. I mean, that's what, if you can laugh about it and say it in public with no concerns, that should be concerning. And I remember this years ago with George Bush, when George Bush was in office, and looked into the camera and lied about the war and lied about all kinds of shit, and just did it with a straight face. It's the first time I ever remembering a politician of that magnitude looking into the camera and telling a verifiable lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was moving on with the day and was like, wow, is that what we're doing? And it was kind of like the birth to me of that, where it's like, you all know this isn't true. Like, there's been reports that what I'm about to say isn't true, but I'm going to say it anyways.
Yeah.
And now we live in a world where that is
commonplace. That's what you do.
Chapter and verse, rule of the day.
Yeah, and I remember that. And I remember specifically when he was at the White House Press Correspondents' Dinner a few years later. And he went, no, and then they said weapons of mass destruction. And he laughed about it. And he made a fucking joke in the whole goddamn room. Like, he joked about literally using it as a fucking excuse, and we know they weren't there. Yeah. And that was like the cynicism of that moment. That coupled with Harry Reid, that fucker from Arizona, the one who smacked his eye out with the damn, the bungee cord or whatever the hell he exercised bungees. Harry Reid. Yeah, that son of a bitch said Mitt Romney never paid he didn't pay his taxes. And it caused Mitt Romney probably to lose the damned election. And after they asked him, they said, did you know that wasn't true? And he said, well, of course I knew it wasn't true. He goes, but it worked, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you fucking kidding me? You just said out loud, yeah, I told a fucking lie, but it worked, didn't it?
Yeah. And that's, like I said, but that's because you have so much power, you're untouchable. I can flaunt my bullshit, and what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, that's it. Right. And now that's the part right now where we're at. Right, where we're getting pissed. Our faces are getting pissed on, and they're going, man, don't you like that warm rain? It's good, isn't it? You love that warm rain, don't you? Yeah. That's exactly where we're at. And they do shit like, for example, Kamala Harris. Oh, yeah. She hates fracking. She's against fracking. Oh, no, now she's for fracking. Why?
Yeah. I heard she wants to build a wall now, too.
Yeah, she wants to build a wall. She wants to do remove taxes on tips on taxes. All that.
I don't know where I've heard these ideas before, but
yeah, I don't know.
Oh wait, yes, I do actually.
Yeah. $35.
I think it's funny that how quickly,
remember?
Like, she didn't even you've been the border czar, and they tried. I think it's funny they tried to no, she wasn't. Like, yes, she was. Stop doing it. Why are you doing that,
dude?
You idiots not know how the internet works.
Yeah, I gotta.
We all know that she.
I got a piece of paper. It's called House Resolution 226, where they memorialized the fact that the president named her as czar of the border. It says right on the fucking piece of paper. It's part of public record.
Yes.
And then on top of it, Politico came out and used the same language immediately and said she was the border czar. And man, they are running away from that like it's fucking going out of style. Yeah. Well,
it reminds me of years ago. Me and a buddy of mine used to watch, like to watch professional wrestling, and the Undertaker went from being the dead man to being the biker guy, and we were all just like, we're just supposed to forget this guy was the dead man 3 weeks ago, and that's kind of what we've turned into with the media. Like, they're not even waiting. It's like this was said 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Like, she's saying shit that, I want to build a wall. Like, you didn't. You didn't. And I guess that's the other thing that's really standing out to me is how we're acting, or not we, but the media is acting like Trump's been in office for the last 4 years.
I know.
Change.
Like,
we can turn around. We're out with the old, in with the new. Like, you're the guys that have been there for 4 fucking years.
Yeah, you're the incumbent.
And we know that. We've seen you.
Yeah.
We've watched the clips. We've seen you. We know you were there.
Yeah.
We know you were.
Yeah. Yeah, why aren't
And
why
it's
why haven't you?
unbelievable. Like,
Why,
who are you? Who is your audience at this point? Who is believing any of this shit? Where you can literally, it's gotten to the point now where I've seen people on X fact checking these assholes in real time. I don't mean like big time journalists. I mean just regular people on X posting like, well, this is what they actually said. Here's what they said 2 weeks ago in real time.
Yeah.
Like these lies have no shelf life, and they're still telling them.
Yeah.
They're still telling them.
Yeah, well, I mean, douchebag Joe actually used the good people on both sides lie, which was finally debunked by Snopes after 7 years, so like 3 months ago.
CNN even admitted that wasn't true.
Yeah.
CNN.
Yeah.
And he's still going to it.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, they're still going at it. They're still saying, all the things that were verifiably. I can't remember the other one, but I mean, just this whole nonsense, this existential threat to democracy crap. I mean, just to understand that at the DNC, you do know that they mentioned Donald Trump's name 437 times. You know how many times Joe Biden's name was mentioned at the RNC? Guess.
Not many. Yeah. I was going to say 3.
2. Twice.
Yeah.
Oh. But that's all they have.
Because one side has a
Donald Trump's
message
bad.
and a policy. The other one just has that. Man bad.
Did you see the interview with her with Tim Balls next to her? She's sitting at this.
Some of it I just couldn't handle. I can't only handle her in small doses.
So bad.
Really.
It was so bad. It was like she's sitting at this Cisco table in the fucking cafeteria, and there's coffee cups littering all the tables behind her because, of course, there should be coffee cups where people aren't sitting, right? Because they're drinking coffee and they're not there. And I'm like going, and then they got the campaign bus in the back, and then they got Wall sitting there, and the camera optics were horrible. She's sitting in the middle, so she's furthest away from the camera, which makes her the smallest person in the picture.
Yeah.
And then he's sitting closer, so he's just by nature, because of the optics, bigger. So here you got this white man, sitting there, and he's there for like nothing but fucking ballast at this point,
Yes.
And it's a cheap, shitty table. Looks like it's in a cafeteria. None of it looked presidential. And now, from what I hear coming out of that debate, they're saying it was so fucking bad that they know there's no way they can let her do the debate. So now they're talking about.
Oh yeah, I'm hearing that now too.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, but and someone pointed this out to me, and not that I didn't know, but the way they phrase it was like she is literally stupid or dumb to a point where she can't process basic things and then speak them. Like, it's really disturbing to see someone that's attained that high of an office in government, and you could see it. That she doesn't, when she gets caught off guard or asked a question off script, that's why she'll repeat the same thing 15 fucking times, because her brain is trying to process and it's not working. She's not able to create competent thought that she then can speak out with words. Like, it doesn't work. There's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
And
yeah, well,
and the fact that anybody can actually buy into anything she's saying is, what are you playing to the 28 people still watching MSNBC? Like, who are these people that are backing this woman without a policy?
Yeah, she's vapid. Okay, I mean, there's nothing there, and I think that she's got this thing, the inferiority complex, that she understands that she can't do it. That she can't respond on the fly. And then what happens is she gets that nervousness about her, And so any hope of actually preparing, like when she gets the binder, and spends a half an hour, like she reads over, like she can't, it won't even go in her head because, that panic. I mean, you've been in that situation. Like, you can't absorb the information when you're panicked about something. And I think that's what occurs. And then the crazy ass cackling comes out. That stupid, nervous laughter.
Oh yeah, that's a classic nervous response.
Yeah, and that's what comes out, and you look like she ends up looking like an idiot and stupid, and because that's what she kind of is. I mean, she is the epitome of the paper candidate. Okay, I mean, her entire career was built on political maneuvering. not
Yeah.
not talent or achievement. Right? You know,
Well, the people that installed her in the spot know that too. Like that's not an accident. Like they know that she's a fool and they can control her.
right.
And she won't even know it. Like she's one of these people that's just arrogant enough to think that she's actually running the show. So
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. I've never seen anything like this, man. I've never seen a person of that level. Even Biden, like the fact she makes Biden look relatively competent is absurd.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
how did you get worse than that?
Yeah, because she doesn't really have an excuse. He does. He's got declining age as an excuse.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, he's a shitbag, but
sure.
but I mean, to tell you the truth, I kind of feel sorry for the fucker at this point because, we are dealing with elder abuse. I mean, he should not be in the position he's in, right? I mean, he just shouldn't.
No, and I felt bad for him too for a minute. Then I remembered about all the horrible, shitty things he's done and all the shitty fucking laws he tried to pass and all the lives he ruined with his shitty racist legislation. And I'm just like, yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck him.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So listen, man, I think I'm having a good time, but I also.
Oh, me too, man.
And you bring great, man. I
Tom,
love
come
having
back.
you. The interaction is great. What?
Tell him to come back at 7.
Yeah. Well, are you gonna join us for the Spaces tonight at 7?
I probably won't be there until about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I
Yeah,
got
we'll
some
be
other things I got to
rolling.
do, but
Yeah, we'll be rolling.
I am gonna. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I'll definitely be in.
Right. Well, we're definitely. I mean, I'm interested. Man, you can carry your own show, no problem. Right. I mean, you starting just like I did, man. He looks just like me, don't he? Whenever I started preaching,
Yep.
and I was in the Baptist church, and I just came in, I turned that baseball cap around, and I got in front of my webcam, and I started making YouTube videos. I'll show them to you sometime, man. That's where I started many years ago. Things would have been different. I kept doing it, but I got sucked up into the evangelical church, huh?
Does he know Main Antifa?
Do you know Main Antifa?
Yeah, I'd follow him.
Yeah. He's a good guy, man. I really like him, man.
They're
I
both
think you guys would be great together to knock around on a show together with me just out the way, right? So we're gonna.
I'd want to try anything and work with anybody, really. I mean, I just love the idea of doing it, having a platform to say my silly shit.
Yeah. Well, what's great is you're real natural at it, and you don't come across as nervous. You seem very relaxed, comfortable in your own opinions and your thoughts, and I really like that about you. And I don't surround myself with people that aren't intellectually challenging and interesting to talk to. And now I find myself on a daily basis. It's like all I want to do is talk to people. It's like crazy. It's like I can't get enough of it because each time I rub shoulders with someone, I learn and I grow. And back to what I said earlier,
Sure.
sometimes that interaction is different than others, but I always learn and grow from all of them, or at least I try to. And so that's the goal. And so I'm really digging it, man. I can't wait for tonight, man. I just I need to take a little break and get the headphones off for a minute.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to put them back on and just stretch my legs a little bit and do this again. So you'll be in touch with me and I put the I don't know if I put the Discord. Did I put the Discord up there for people to join? Let me put that link up there again. I think I still have it probably in my That's a link to my Discord. So that's the Truthslinger Army or the Truthslinger Project or whatever the hell we were calling it. But it's a group and it's kind of like I'm trying to get my mind around what it is. But again, there's like overlap between a bunch of software. So it's a messaging platform. But you can do video conferencing just like we're doing now, or you can do audio conferencing. But the cool part about it is like I can have sections like new members, right? Here's how to learn Discord. Here's some tips and tricks and whatever. And that's the conversation. That thread in there, all the threads have to do with that. And then there's a research thread, right? Current stories. And under there, you can put, we're researching Aurora, Colorado. We're researching Gorham High School, right? And so each one of those, it's a nice way to sort out rather than trying to deal with a bunch of different shit with 20 people in a direct message group like we're doing with the TNN direct message group. It's like sometimes there's too much noise and not enough signal. And this allows it to kind of separate that shit out. How does it fit into the big plan? I don't really know, but apparently like a lot of people knock around and like once you get the server going, it sort of lives by itself. And there might be people hanging out in there even when you're not in there.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the idea behind it. And I don't know. Yeah, it was Kenny's idea. So, I don't know everything. I don't know. And I said, it sounds good to me. I mean, the more places we can be where people can, reach us and find us to be accessible to them, I think the better off we are. So that reminds me at this point.
Yeah, I used it a little bit for fantasy football a couple years ago or last year. And yeah, it's a pretty, once you get the channel rolling, like it could be a hands-off thing where people will just organically kind of start conversations amongst themselves type of thing. So
Yeah. So I don't fully understand the power of it, but I do believe that it's useful. And I think some people kind of have told me that it's kind of like, because you're going to get some more chaos, along with it as well. Which it's fine because, you're not going to be able to mine the gems out of it. If we get too much in our own echo chambers, I don't think that's a good thing either, right? So as long as, we get rid of the obvious assholes, I don't mind, being challenged. I really don't have a problem with that. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know. Like I said, I have been drinking from a fire hose, right, every single day. I finally got this thing to where it's like, all right, I got everything hooked up. OSB works with Restream Studio works with OSB. It's for a repeater. I get the titles right, this, that, and the other thing. And then he comes and he says, hey, do you have a Discord? You should be on Discord, and we should figure out how this is working for you. And I'm like going, what? No, come on, man. Please stop. I
It's
thought
so hard to learn things.
yeah, I mean, it's like I just got everything
Painful.
stable. I don't want to add some new shit, but that's the kind of the nature of it. You just got to roll with it and go with it. So, and it's fun and it's keeping my brain younger and I certainly tell you, I mean, the days pass better and I wake up in the morning with a spring in my step and the biggest thing that I think that is great for me is that there are literally people that have come into this project that said 2-3 weeks ago, I was depressed. I was on the couch. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do with myself. I felt like I wasn't contributing. And then you came along, And so, and that's why I had this other guy, Christopher. I hope he comes back because he wrote me a note last night. He's like, listen, I've entertained this with 20 different, podcast people that are kind of doing the same thing you're trying to sort of do. And he's like, none of them were interesting, just you. And I'm like, so that tells me we're on the right track. We're doing something that I think is authentic and I think it's important. So I do hope he comes back because,
definitely.
I mean, I think we're something special here, and and it's not because of me, but my whole thing about the evangelical purpose and the way I've been doing things is just kind of like very differently than I used to. It's like, look, just let your light shine, right? And do it through your character, your output, and something like that. And at some point, somebody's going to go, this guy's got something going on with his God. Who is that? You see? So that's what I'm hoping to do, right? And and of course, yesterday does not help my cause, but again, today, my repentance in that regard does. Right? So that's the way Christians roll, right? We make mistakes and then we repent for them, right? And I'm forgiven for all of
you're
that
a good
stuff,
guy,
so.
and you just had a misstep, and that's it's really not the end of the world. You know what I mean? It's something to learn from and move on from.
And the other thing too is that when you make mistakes and you own up to them, I think it allows you to be more forgiving of other people, right? To realize that
absolutely,
people step in
100%.
it, right? We all step in it.
That's why I'm such a forgiving motherfucker.
Right.
I'd be a huge hypocrite otherwise.
Right. Exactly. Well, listen, Mike, I really enjoyed spending the time with you, as always.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, and we'll do this again. Just holler
definitely.
at me.
Tell him to come back at 7.
And come back at like 8 or whatever when you get done, and come back and holler in there. And then I don't know, the schedule is like up in the air, but I mean, you know where my booking thing is, and right now,
I found that.
Yeah, that's where that's where the slots are still the way they are. I haven't changed it. That might change once I get the network like kind of rolling. And I have time blocks and stuff, but for right now, that's the best way. Is otherwise, I won't be able to keep people on my calendar. They try to DM me or something. It's just like it's not going to stick. You got to make that appointment. So But anyway, So I really enjoyed you, and we'll if you have any questions about equipment or anything, let me know. Start thinking about theme, what you want to talk about, what you want your intro to look like. I'm thinking about 20 to 30 seconds. Kind of let me know. Give me some ideas
Yep.
as far as graphically the way you want it to feel. What kind of sound you want it to have. You can tell me music that, whatever, whether it's copyrighted or not. Just give me the feel, and we can substitute in other music that is similar that we won't have copyright problems with, right? So just think about that, just from the branding standpoint of what you want to do, what the name of your show is, that kind of thing, so that I can start working on that, because that's going to take a bit of, that Truthslinger thing that floats over our head with the lightning going through it. It looks really cool, but it takes a minute to put shit like that together, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good, right? All right, super. So we had 293 views by the end of it. So that's excellent. And
Sweet.
Yeah, and that should probably have a good shelf life, man, because it's good conversation, I think. So we did enjoy you, and we'll definitely do this again, because I'm not stopping, right? Yeah.
Nice, Dad. I really enjoyed it, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. I'm going to kill the stream, man. See you guys. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you in a couple
All right,
hours.
take